Welcome to the Risk Wheelhouse, the podcast where we navigate the ever-changing seas of risk management and technology. Join your hosts, Ori Wellington and Sam Jones, as they steer you through the latest trends, insights, and strategies shaping the future of integrated risk management. Ready to chart a course towards success? Hop aboard and let's set sail into today's deep dive.
Welcome back to the deep dive. Today, we're really focusing in, putting all our attention on something huge happening right now. It's a massive shift, potentially really disruptive, in how we think about data governance and, frankly, national security. We're diving deep into the U.S. Department of Justice's data security program. You'll hear it called the DSP. It was authorized under Executive Order 14117. And, it fundamentally redraws the lines for how organizations handle sensitive American data, especially when foreign entities are involved. Our mission today, simple. Cut through the jargon, the legalese, and really distill what this means for you. If you're a risk leader, compliance officer, legal counsel, listen up. Because today, October 6, 2025, that's the date, the critical enforcement date. That short grace period that started back in April, it's over. Non-compliance now carries immediate weight.
It really does. That switch, from just guidance to actual strict enforcement, it changes the whole compliance picture, like overnight. The time to get ready is gone. The DOJ now actively expects organizations to show control. If your company handles large amounts of U.S. personal data or government-related data, this isn't some nice-to-have anymore. It's immediate liability.
Okay, liability. So what's the core driver here? Why this? Why now?
Well, the core purpose of the DSP is actually pretty straightforward. It's designed to stop the bulk transfer of Americans' really sensitive personal or government data, specifically to places, to jurisdictions the U.S. considers national security risks.
So the stakes feel almost existential then. It's not just hoping you're doing the right thing anymore. What's the absolute baseline requirement starting today? Okay,
starting immediately. Like right now, companies must implement and maintain a verifiable written compliance program. And verifiable is the key word there.
Yep.
It's a huge distinction. It's not just about, drafting some policy and sticking it in a drawer. You have to be able to prove it with documents, with audit trails. You need to show, exactly where your covered data lives, who's got access to it, and critically, how that data stays protected when it's shared or processed across borders, especially with certain foreign partners.
And if you can't prove it?
If you can't prove it, well, the DOJ sees that as a failure to comply, plain and simple. And that opens the door to immediate penalties.
Okay, let's unpack that definition of covered data, because I think this is where the scope gets, frankly, shocking for a lot of folks. The DOJ didn't just stick to the obvious things, did they?
No, not at all.
They've defined this really broad range of sensitive categories. You've got personal identifiers, naturally, but then health information, genetic data, financial details, biometrics, even precise location data. That list alone pulls in almost every major tech and finance company, doesn't it?
It absolutely does. But wait, here's the real kicker. The genuine compliance landmine. The part that could totally change your tech requirements.
Okay.
It's about anonymized and encrypted data.
Wait, hang on. If data is encrypted, isn't that the whole point? Isn't it supposed to be protected? Are you saying the DOJ just sort of bypassed traditional data masking as a defense?
That's exactly what I'm saying. The rule explicitly states that even data that's been anonymized or encrypted can still qualify as covered data. The condition is if that data can somehow be linked back to individuals, or if it can be used to infer sensitive insights about Americans.
Wow.
Think about what that means. If you run, say, machine learning models on encrypted data sets, and those models let you deduce health trends or maybe mobility patterns of Americans, that data, even though encrypted, is still restricted under this rule.
Okay, for anyone listening in data science or maybe fintech, that just sounds like their compliance job got 10 times harder. They basically have to treat masked data almost like it's live PII now, because the potential for re-identification is seen as too big a national security risk.
Precisely. It widens the net far beyond what most companies traditionally track or worry about.
And this incredibly broad definition of data, it's then applied very specifically, geopolitically speaking.
Yes, it's paired with a focused geopolitical line. The rule targets 6 specific countries of concern. This ensures the compliance effort, the resources, are really centered on preventing data flow to those jurisdictions the U.S. views as the highest risk.
And those countries are?
China, Russia, Iran, North Korea, Cuba, and Venezuela.
Okay. So China, Russia, Iran, North Korea, Cuba, Venezuela. If your organization has any kind of data processing, any operational ties, vendors, partners in those countries, you absolutely need to know which restriction level applies, because there are two. Right?
Correct. The DOJ created a pretty clear spectrum here, moving away from maybe past ambiguities. You've got two main buckets. And understanding which bucket your transaction falls into basically dictates your whole compliance strategy.
What's the first bucket?
First, you have prohibited transactions. This is exactly what it sounds like. Hard stop, full stop, no transfers allowed, no licenses available, no exceptions. This typically applies to specific types of highly sensitive government data or certain bulk data sets deemed too critical.
So if you're dealing with that kind of data related to those countries, the message is sever ties, ensure it cannot move, period.
Period. That's it.
Okay, what's the second category?
Then you have restricted transactions. Now, these aren't banned completely, but, and this is a big but, they are only permitted if the company meets some incredibly strict ongoing requirements.
And this is likely where most multinational companies are going to feel the heat, right? This is where the bulk of the work and probably the expense lies.
I think that's right. For restricted transfers, the core demand is proof, establishing an auditable paper trail and showing rigorous continuous due diligence.
Are you ready to see risk management in action? At Wheelhouse Advisors, we've launched a new YouTube channel dedicated to integrated risk management. You'll find quick explainers, insights from our IRM Navigator research reports, highlights from the Risk Journal, and conversations from the Risk Wheelhouse podcast. We're covering the topics that matter most to executives and risk leaders, from AI governance and cyber insurance to operational resilience and regulatory change. Every video is designed to help you anticipate risks, adapt with confidence, and build resilience in a digital-first world. In our first video, we explain how ISO 42001, the EU AI Act, and the NIST AI Risk Management Framework can work together as a unified playbook for AI risk. Subscribe today at youtube.com/@wheelhouseadv and get the latest insights delivered directly to you. That's youtube.com/@wheelhouseadv. Subscribe now and stay ahead of the risks that matter most.
To stay compliant here, organizations basically need systems up now to document every single relevant data exchange. You have to confirm the true ownership structure of your foreign counterparties, no shell games. You need to assess their foreign risk exposure and perform annual audits. And remember, those annual audits, the clock starts now. They begin immediately.
Okay, that raises a really critical point about just feasibility. For the chief compliance officer listening right now, hearing implement a verifiable program overnight, including annual audits starting now, that sounds, well, daunting. What if a company uses standard commercial software? You know, off-the-shelf stuff where they maybe can't easily see the entire underlying data pipeline. Are they really expected to be 100% compliant today?
Look, the expectation is that you have a documented plan and you are executing it now.
Yeah.
Immediately. The DOJ isn't naive. They understand this involves major infrastructure shifts for some companies. But the liability phase, that has begun. So they expect that data mapping work is already underway. They expect vendor vetting is a top priority. You essentially have to assume liability for any blind spots now. Ignorance isn't an excuse.
Right. Okay. So let's dig into those immediate practical steps, because this really does reshape how companies use global data infrastructure. Yeah. If I'm leading this effort inside my organization, what are the, say, first three things I absolutely must demand from my teams, like today?
Okay, number one, internal mapping. And I mean deep mapping. This goes way beyond just knowing where your main databases are. You've got to comprehensively map your data flows, find every category of sensitive covered data, pinpoint exactly when and where it interacts with any system. That includes internal shadow IT systems, by the way. Oh. Any system that might connect, even indirectly, to foreign operations in those countries of concern. It's like diagnosing your entire data infrastructure for hidden risks.
Okay, map the internal landscape first. Got it. But that data doesn't just sit there, right? It moves. So that immediately forces you to look outward at who you share it with globally.
Exactly. Step two, evaluate your foreign vendors and cloud services. This is critical and honestly probably the most challenging part for many. Most businesses rely on dozens, maybe hundreds, of third-party providers. You now must vet them for jurisdictional exposure related to those 6 countries.
And it's not just your direct vendor, is it?
No. The DOJ expects you to look deeper. Assess not just your direct partner, but potentially their supply chain too, the sub-vendors. If your primary foreign partner uses a sub-processor operating out of one of the countries of concern, guess what? That risk flows up to you. It becomes your compliance problem.
Wow, okay. That supplier risk just got way more complex, which leads directly to needing immediate action on contracts, I assume.
Absolutely. Step 3 is contracts. They need updating right now. This isn't just good practice, it's a legal requirement with real operational teeth. You need to insert new, strict data handling clauses. They should specifically reference the DSP guidance. They need to require your counterparties to prove their own compliance posture, maybe through audit rights. And beyond just the contracts, organizations really need to immediately set up internal governance, clear reporting frameworks. There needs to be documented accountability for DSP rules right up to the executive level.
And you can't forget the people actually doing the work day to day, the human element. Training must be front and center, wouldn't you say?
Oh, absolutely crucial. Training employees is vital, especially people in roles like sales, procurement, operations, the ones making deals or setting up processes. They need to be able to spot a potentially restricted transaction before it happens. They need to understand this isn't just some IT problem or a legal thing handled elsewhere. It's an operational issue now, and getting it wrong could lead to severe consequences for the company.
What kind of consequences are we talking?
Well, there's the official stuff, civil penalties, potentially even criminal enforcement depending on the severity and intent. But honestly, the bigger, maybe longer-lasting consequence, losing trust, losing reputational standing, both commercially and, nationally. That's catastrophic.
So stepping back a bit, what does this all mean in the bigger picture? This feels like it's about more than just ticking compliance boxes for data rules. It feels like a fundamental shift where data privacy has been sort of merged or elevated into a core national security mandate.
That's precisely the synthesis here, I think. The Data Security Program, the DSP, it signals this powerful new alignment. Handling sensitive data is no longer just a technical issue or, regulatory compliance task you assign to the back office. It's been institutionalized now as a fundamental geopolitical challenge. It forces us, all of us, to manage data responsibly, right where those digital boundaries smash up against national security interests.
Interesting. Is there a framework for thinking about this kind of intersection?
Yeah, actually, if you look at it through an integrated risk management lens and IRM perspective, like Mile described in some of our source materials, the DSP really underscores the connection, the indivisibility of resilience and compliance.
Okay, explain that. Resilience being what? The ability to anticipate these kinds of global shifts and withstand them without your core business falling apart.
Exactly. Resilience is about adapting, withstanding shocks. And compliance, in this context, is the verifiable, auditable action you take to meet the letter and the spirit of this new law. The two are now completely intertwined by this rule.
So the lesson for every risk leader listening.
The lesson is unmistakable. Regulatory compliance has fundamentally changed. It's transformed. It is no longer just a reporting function or a cost center. It's now a frontline defense mechanism. This mandate makes it crystal clear. Your operational resilience, and frankly, the nation's ability to protect its interests and citizens, is now being fought partly through meticulous data protection protocols.
Right. Which brings us right back to today, October 6th, 2025. This milestone isn't just about checking a box on a form somewhere. It's truly about redefining what responsible data stewardship means in a world where digital operations and geopolitical borders are constantly colliding.
It demands a whole new level of due diligence, one that has to extend deep, deep into your supply chain, deeper than most are probably used to.
And I think that leads us perfectly into our final provocative thought, something for you to really chew on as you process all this critical information. Given that incredibly expansive definition of covered data, especially including anonymized and encrypted data, if it can be linked back, the real test for compliance, it isn't just about auditing your own internal systems, is it?
No, it goes beyond that.
It's about auditing your partner's partners, and maybe their partners. So the question is, just how many tiers deep does your due diligence truly need to go now? How far down the supply chain must you look to ensure you are fully compliant in this demanding new national security landscape?
A challenging question indeed. Thank you for joining us for this crucial deep dive.
We'll see you next time.
That wraps up another episode of the Risk Wheelhouse. Thank you for spending time with us at Wheelhouse Advisors today. We hope you found the conversation insightful and actionable for your organization's risk strategies. Don't forget to subscribe on your favorite podcast platform. whether it's Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or Amazon Music. If you're looking for more in-depth analysis and thought leadership on risk technology, be sure to visit the Risk Tech Journal at therisktechjournal.com. It's your go-to source for comprehensive articles, expert interviews, and the latest trends shaping the industry. Subscribe today to stay informed. For any inquiries or feedback, please contact us directly at info@wheelhouseadvisors.com, or feel free to connect with us on LinkedIn and x.com and share your thoughts or suggestions for future topics. Visit wheelhouseadvisors.com for more information and resources. Thanks again for joining us. Until next time, navigate wisely.